Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm sorry if you did miss the earlier show. Well, not if you did miss it, because you can go back and watch it, but we did have to cut the earlier show short a little because we had some technical problems. But we do have the finished craft along, which Lily's got for you. So you can have a look at this absolutely stunning Christmassy box using the Bethlehem collection. So we'll show you that now so you can see what it would look like.
So here we go. So we changed it up ever so slightly from that original, using the gold bow, and then just to show you a different technique, rather than doing the actual paper piecing like we had on the original box, perhaps you don't have as much time for your craft along. So on the original box, we did our paper pieced element onto there, but on the one that we did for craft along, we just kept it as that outline with the white backer, just to show you a little bit of a difference between the two projects. So that's the one that we created on the craft along, and then this was the original. But we will make sure on Tuesday we get those measurements and the full set of instructions up on Facebook for you. So if you do want to craft along afterwards, those will be all there for you. But if you did actually create one, we'd love to see all your makes. So do get in your photos and send them in. I'd love to see what you've crafted with your Bethlehem collection.
It is absolutely gorgeous. I want one of those before I leave today. Can I have one? Yeah. Excellent, thank you. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I'm going to fill it with chocolate. Yeah. Of course. Fill it with chocolate and I'll send you a picture.
Oh, yes.
Kimberly says, good afternoon from Pennsylvania. Headed to my 50th high school reunion tomorrow near Pittsburgh. Wow, congratulations. Hope you have a good time. Alicia says, good morning and good morning. Greetings from Arkansas. Sarah Brown, hello again, everyone from Melbourne, Australia. Hope everyone is doing well. Sending hugs your way. Mary, hello from Maine, everyone. Cheryl, hello from North Carolina. Valerie, hello from everyone from Arizona. And Mary Pat said, good morning, everyone, again from sunny Montana. Hello, everybody. Do message in. Let us know any questions you've got. Maybe you were watching the craft along earlier and you've got a couple of questions. Maybe you just want to tell us what you're getting up to this weekend. So it's a bank holiday weekend in England. And in great bank holiday tradition, the weather's not great. I'm working. It's all right.
It's not raining yet.
It's not raining yet. But I think it's going to be a little bit chilly this evening. Lily's working tomorrow. I'm working on Monday. We're all sort of going to be around, but that's bank holiday for you. So tell us what you're getting up to, because we always like to see what you're doing. Do remember, if you're going to have a look at the website, you're going to be buying anything, it's double points this weekend. So that might just sort of push you up into the next level of your points history, as it were. So do have a look at any of the deals we've got on there. And while you're there, make sure you pop one of these bags in there. So we've got two bags, and these are Leanne's special Papercraft bags. One is your everyday, and we've got the other one, which is our Christmas. So if you don't want to know what's inside it, turn away. But if you do want to know what's in it, keep your eyes open. We've got all sorts of different things in here, from embellishments. You have got consumables like so. You've got a whole wealth of different dies, embossing folders, stamps. And so I just flicked through all of these. I think we have 11 different items in here. So loads and loads of different things that you're going to be able to use for all your sort of papercraft projects that you're working on. That one I know is one of Becky Redican's favourite. Oh, it's upside down. I can't see that. It's too far away. That's one of Becky Redican's favourite items. You've got all sorts of other bits and pieces around here as well. You do have one of those, which I particularly like. And if you've had one of these before, you will know the price of these is pretty much what you're paying for this whole big bag of goodies, with one of these on, which is the thing that we're all looking at. We all want to pinch if no one's looking our way when we go to sort of pack these up at the end of the night. The whole of this bag full of goodies, so 11 goodies you've got in here. This is £35 or $45, £28 platinum price, or 36. Sorry, who did you say that was? Kate McQueen has just hit platinum. Yay! Well done, well done, very impressive.
Welcome to the club.
So join everybody that's a platinum member. You should, so just see if there's anything on our website that you might like today. You might want to take advantage of those double points. The next one we've got is the Christmas bag, and in here you've got your consumables like these, but you've also got a whole host of different dies. stamps, embossing folders, for all sorts of Christmas makes. So some of these might be sort of more suited to children, other things, more suited for adults. You've got a huge amount of different bits and pieces in here, 10 different items in here. That one in particular I really like.
Making me hungry, that one, I have to say.
Yeah, it is really nice, isn't it?
It'd be nice to fill your boxes with that sort of thing.
Yeah, you could fit quite a few of those in there as a little gift, couldn't you?
Definitely.
And you've got a few embellishments in there as well. And so once again, the price is £35, $45, or your platinum price is £28.36. Loads of people messaging in. We've got Cheryl, it's beautiful, Lily, for your box. Valerie says, beautiful box. Fred, happy Saturday from California. KBBGA Peach. I'm going to call you Peach. Hi from Georgia. Katie's about hitting the platinum. Suzanne says, hello from Michigan. It's a beautiful here and 80 degrees. What a beautiful box, Lily. I've been watching and listening to all the tips and tricks. Lily did give lots and lots of ideas and tips as to how to, to put your boxes together. So do go back and watch that if you can. And now our Weekend Super Saver has been so popular. Unsurprisingly, because most of you have a Gemini, let's be honest, and you're always going to need new plates, and you might as well take the opportunity to buy the plates at the special discounted price. So you're going to get in this collection your 2 clear plates that you've got just here. You'll also be receiving your metal shim, your magnetic shim, you'll get your clear plastic shim as well, and you'll also be getting that embossing mat as well. All together with the bag, to put everything in, £48.76, or your platinum price is £38.40 or $60.80. This is great if you've just bought your bag, but just bought your Gemini and you've already have all these plates. It doesn't matter because you can get these and then you've got everything, for when these sort of wear out, if you're going to be using them lots, if you're going to be purchasing one of these goodie bags that we've got on the show today, you might want to have these extra plates so you know that you've always got them in stock, ready to use when you need to do so. So on the show today, so on the craft house, we've got lots of different alphabets. So we've got, we showed you earlier, we've got sort of left fold alphabets, we've got all sorts of other, what were the shadow alphabets, mini alphabets, multimedia alphabets. So it's all about personalising items and using the alphabets that we've got on today. So Lily's got a few samples over on the other side of the studio of some beautiful makes.
Absolutely. So just a few ideas of the sorts of things that we're going to be looking at throughout this whole Craft House show. Lots of different sentiments, lots of different alphabets of different styles and designs. So something for every single gift or card that you need to personalise. This is going to be the first demonstration, well, it's the first range that we're going to look at, these shadow alphabets. We did a lovely shaker as well this morning using this particular range. But how fabulous do those look, creating your shakers with that shadow alphabet. We do also have some of our mini dies on the show, so we've got our mini sentiments. We will be using these, this particular word actually, the with love, in one of our demos a little bit later, but just goes to show how you can mix and match some of your other dies as well, but that is of course the finishing touch to have that fabulous mini sentiment on there. So we've got those coming up on today's show. We do also have these amazing left fold alphabets as well, and we say alphabets, but we also get the numbers, and these stamps as well are included in that particular collection. So that's a brilliant collection that we'll be taking a little look at later on in the show as well. And then finally, just one more with our fabulous shadow alphabets. Like I say, this is going to be our first demonstration working with these alphabets, but actually sort of cutting into your panels, but then adding another layer over the top to give real dimension onto there. How amazing does that look? Really, really stands out using that fabulous shadow alphabet. But just a few ideas of the sorts of things you can be doing with your alphabets. Of course, lots more, hopefully lots of good inspiration coming up throughout the show. Really excited to share lots of ideas with you, so make sure you stay tuned for the final show of the day, last 2 hours of the day.
So these are the shadow alphabets. So you'll see, you'll get all the letters of the alphabet. I'm not just going to show you these ones, they're not the only ones you're going to get. You're going to get all of them. And they are quite an incredible price that you've got here. So these are quite large dies that you're going to be getting in this collection. You'll get 27 altogether. for £12 or $20. Platinum price is £9.60 or $16. This is a huge reduction of the normal price. I think it's just about 81%, 80% reduction you're getting on the normal price. So these are, we had lady message in, I think I've already got these, but I'm going to buy them again for that price. I'm not surprised because they're definitely worth having. And as you saw, Lily has got some really beautiful samples there. She made a lovely card earlier on today. But these are really sort of good size dies, and you could use them for all sorts of different things. We were looking at sort of Christmassy demonstrations as well as using them throughout the year, and that's the beauty of having the full alphabet. So this is the first one you're going to be using in your demonstrations, isn't it?
Absolutely. So we did a shaker with these particular dies earlier. We're going to show you something a little bit different for this particular demo. So we're going to be working with some of the papers. This is from our Knitwit Homebody paper pad. I absolutely love this paper pad. The blue tones within here are absolutely gorgeous. So soft. Reminds me very much of pottery. You might know what I mean in terms of that. But in the background, you've almost got that slight linen texture. And what we've got here is we've got one of the pieces from that double-sided 12 by 12 inch paper pad. We've just chopped it down and we'll give it a little bit of a measure. It's about 4¼ inches by about 4 inches. And all we're going to do is we're going to position our alphabet onto here. I'm going to spell out the word home. I thought that would be perfect for use with these papers. So the shadow element to these particular dies are actually on sort of the right hand side. So if you do have letters that are symmetrical, like the H and the O, and the M as well, actually, for that matter, just make sure that that shadow is actually on that right hand side, and then everything will be sort of in the right place and looking right with that. So what we're doing is we're actually doing it in sort of like a square design. So don't just think of using your letters sort of all in one line in a row. You can of course be getting lots of different effects in terms of the way that you position them onto your cardstock. So we're having it almost like in sort of a grid formation for this particular layout. And all I'm doing is I'm using the actual dots on that paper to help line these up. So
that's a good idea.
I like doing this with pattern paper, so it's a good little trick. No one would know that you've done it, but if you've got something that's got sort of like that directional print on, use it to help you actually line those dies up. So I'm happy that that's quite central onto there. And then the same technique that I've shown a few times already today, but I think it is a really useful way and a much easier way of doing this, is using that long piece of tape. In this particular instance, because we've got the 2 rows, we're going to need 2 pieces of tape. But rather than taping down the 4 individual letters, I find it's much easier to use that long piece of tape and actually tape the letters down to the cardstock, but also taping them to one another. I just find it gives you that easiest way to actually tape these into position as we run them through the die cutting machine. And that's actually our low tack tape that we've used on there. So it's not too tacky, it's just sticky enough that it'll hold the dies in place while they go through the machine, so they're not going to move and they're going to be in the position that we want them to be. But it's not so tacky that it shouldn't rip off cardstock. Fingers crossed. Having said that now, it'll probably tear all my cardstock. But the idea is with your low tack tape that it keeps those dies in position for as long as they need to be in position. And then once you've sort of done your die cutting, all you do is peel your tape back, and do just take a minute and a little bit of care to peel that tape back. And like I was saying on the earlier show, you could actually be leaving that tape in position and then just removing the dies from the cardstock with the tape still on the dies, and then it means that your dies will be lined up perfectly, and you can repeat this technique for as many cards as you like. So if you are batch making, it does just make it that little bit easier to do it that way. So I'd be removing the dies from the cardstock like I'm here, but then I'd be leaving those 2 taped together. So that then I could use this sort of particular layout on another card design. It will just save you time when you come to actually create your second card. So we're removing our tape from our dies, removing our dies from our cardstock. And the nice thing about this particular alphabet is you get sort of a very usable positive and negative. So the way that these have been designed is technically to actually use what might traditionally be the waste when we think of doing our die cutting. But the positive, the bit that actually pops out, so the actual letters, you can be using as well. So it's quite nice to get that 2 for 1. Just gives you more options. Obviously you don't have to use those pieces on the same project, but I'd definitely be saving those and using them on another project. So what we've got there is we've got that all cut into our panel. Then what we're going to do is I'm taking a matte and layer, just some nice blue card, picking out the colours that we've got in that particular design in the paper, picking out those polka dots. And all we're going to do is we're just going to take some double-sided 3D adhesive that comes on a circular wheel type shape.
I think we've done quite well avoiding saying.
We have.
No,
they're singing it in our ears.
Stop.
Oh no! They're singing it in our ears, just to let you guys at home know.
Oh no, they're still singing.
I know, we can't shut them up.
It's horrible.
It's awful. My ears are bleeding.
I might have to take my earpiece out so I can't hear them.
Yeah, then Becky's just gone for the whole show. But we're using this one because it's quite a nice thin one. So on our website, even on your website, on my website, all I can think of is that song now. I'm completely distracted.
It really is distracting.
We're not saying what song it is, but on our website we've got two different sort of widths of foam tape. So you've got the thin one and you've got the slightly wider one. Using that thin one just allows us to get into this area, because it's not a particularly wide area. It is enough space there to get our tape behind there, but using that thinner tape or using the foam pads that I'm just cutting down to size now is the best option for something like this. We want to have a little bit in the centre there, otherwise that sort of centre section might sag a little bit, and we want it to sort of be nice and firm and stand proud from the panel that we're going to be sticking it onto. So a few foam pads behind this, and by raising this up it's going to make those letters really stand out against that matte and layer. I know we've got the shadow element to the actual design, but it will also give us a drop shadow where we've got our piece behind. It'll make them stand out even more. It's going to give them a really nice effect, and it's going to sort of draw your eye to that shadow effect on your letters even more. So I'm thinking that's probably about enough foam onto that piece, just making sure I've got plenty in most of the areas so that it's going to stick nice and firmly with no sort of saggy bits in the middle, which is not what we want for sure. Just peeling the backs off of those, and I'm using quite a nice deep foam tape. This is about 3mm in thickness, so it's going to give us that nice bit of dimension. 2mm or 3mm would work quite nicely for this. 1mm might be not quite deep enough, won't give an awful lot of lift. So using your slightly deeper foam tape does give you that nice lift onto the back of here. I know some people don't always peel all of the backs off of the foam tape. I know a lot of people will peel off the backs around the edges, but then the centre ones, they say sort of there for stability and not really for sort of sticking. I cannot do that. I'll tell you now, I've tried, but if I know that there's a backing of some tape that's not being removed, I can't live with myself, quite frankly. So all of the backing is definitely being peeled off, but you will see some people who just peel off the backing from the outer pieces, and then those centre pieces that are there for stability more than anything, they will actually leave the backing on.
I didn't know anyone would do that.
Oh, I couldn't do it, Becky. No. I tried once, never again. I just messed with
it. You know, sometimes if I buy a book and it's got like a label on it for like, you know, buy one, get one free, I have to take that label off before I get home, or as soon as I get home, because I can't have that label left on there.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, that is our topper. We're leaving that to one side for just a moment, but how nice does that look with that Beautiful. Little bit of dimension onto there? Really simple design, but it stands out really nicely. Now back to that fabulous paper pad, our Knitwit homebody, and I've got a piece of one of the papers, and I love the fact that these are double-sided, but piece of cardstock measuring about 6 inches square, and what we're going to do is we're just going to add some of our tape running to the back of that, and we're going to stick that onto a slightly larger piece of cardstock. So it's 6 1/4 inch square, and it's that same blue cardstock that we used for our matte and layer for that home element there. And then we're going to bring in our card base, and what we've got here is we've got a 6 1/2 inch square card base, but then we've just scored again halfway on that left hand side. I'm going to create an easel card. So we've got another piece of cardstock which is measuring 6 1/2 inches again, and this is just going to complete that front section of our easel card. And I always say make sure you tape onto the actual card base itself rather than that extra piece, because then you know that you've got tape where you want it and you won't end up sort of over taping and having too much adhesive on the back. You know that if you tape onto your card base, whether you're using glue or tape, it doesn't matter at all. You know that you're not gonna have any sort of peeking behind where you don't want it. So that's our card base. Then we're bringing in our mats and layers that we've just done. So you just seen me stick that first one together. I've done exactly the same with another piece, so that same pattern paper with the same matted layer of blue onto there. We're going to add one onto this bottom section of our easel card, just getting that nice and central, and then we're going to add the other one to the top part of our easel card. So having the same design top and bottom is going to really help with that flow of design on our card. So it's not going to be like two separate cards stuck together. It's going to be very much sort of the one continuous flowing piece between the two surfaces. So that's our matting and layering done. We're going to add a little bit more detail onto this top section. So I've got some more paper from that lovely paper pad, that same Knit With Home body. Love this floral design with the pink flowers against the blue. It's almost like a really nice denim-y type blue that works really nicely with the pink. I think that looks absolutely gorgeous. And then what we've done is, again, we've added it to the same matte and layer of that denim-y blue colour card. And then we're going to add that into the centre. Again, I'm using the design on that paper to help me actually line that up and get it straight. And then we've got exactly the same piece here to add to the bottom, but this is actually going to form our stopper for our easel card. So what I tend to do is I tend to stand my easel card up, decide whether I want it quite upright or a little bit further forward, and then I use that to sort of measure where I'm going to want my stopper. So I think I'm going to go about there, using those houses, that bottom section of that row of houses to help me line it up, and then that's my card base all done. At this point, we're going to bring back in our topper, and we've raised this panel up here by one piece of foam tape, and I want to raise this up a little bit more. So either edge we're going to need two sort of levels of foam tape to make this a little bit sort of higher up than that piece that we've got underneath. So what I tend to do is I'll add top and bottom. I know that's fine in place, and then one in the middle is going to be one layer because that's going to be stuck onto that piece there. Then for the top and the bottom layers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually peel the backing off of my foam tape, just like so. And then I'm going to get the foam tape again. I'm getting dangerously close to the edge, the end of this roll even. And I'm adding another layer of foam onto there. And I'm going to do exactly the same with this bottom piece. Another row of foam along there, which means that it's going to be raised up one level from this particular level. So because the top and the bottom is touching that level, we need to have two layers of foam. And because that centre section is touching that piece, which is already raised up one layer, we need just the one layer of foam. So it's just sort of working things out a little bit as to where you need your double layer and where your single layer is going to be fine to leave that as the one layer. And then we're going to peel the backing off. Ooh, that's flying away. Oh, it's stuck to my tape runner, look at this. It's gone off
That's
here.
an interesting way instead of using foam pads.
It is a new adhesive, this
dimension.
one. That will definitely give us a bit of dimension, won't it, that? Oh dear, I don't quite know what went off there.
Just goes to show how strong that foamy
that adhesive one. Yeah, it did actually. That did stick quite well, worryingly well. Anyway, we're using those windows this time to line that up. So we're just going to pop that down like so, and then we're going to add in some embellishments to finish this off. So these are from our topper pad that you'll find on the website. This is the Knit With Homebody topper pad, and we've got a few embellishments. I'm just deciding where I'm going to want everything. So I think, where should we go? Let's have, and it's just all about balancing things and getting things really nicely balanced. So I'm thinking a couple of buttons onto there. I did get that flower, but I think it's a little bit too large for the design. So I think what we're going to do is on the top here, we're going to get one of our little foam pads. I've got this sweet little button design, and this is just one of our 12 by 12 inch die cut topper pad from the Knit With Homebody range. You will find it on the website. Really nice because it matches with these papers beautifully, and it's just going to be the finishing touch to this card. So we're going to have one on the bottom left, and then for balance we're going to of course have one on that top right hand side. And then to decorate up our stopper a little bit, we're going to add in our house, I think. So a little bit of foam at the top there.
that soft blue with the, it's like an off-white, isn't it? Almost a cream colour.
Yeah, it's a lovely colour because it's not white, but it's not really cream, because sometimes cream can look a little bit yellow.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice soft colour, like you say.
Parchment kind of colour.
Yes, yeah, that's a good way of describing it actually. And doesn't it work well with the blue? With the blue being so soft, it just, I think white could be a little bit harsh. Could be a little bit too stark against this, so I think it works really nicely to have that slight off-white colour. And all the papers within this range look like they've got almost a slight linen texture. It's completely faux, it's not a real texture at all, but it just is really nice to have that little hint of a faux texture onto there. And I think I'm still deciding about whether I want to add that on or not. Do we want it on, do we not? I think without.
Yeah, I don't think it needs it.
Yeah, we're going to add just the one more foam pad. Yeah.
It'd be too much gilding the lily.
Oh, it would. Lily would be gilding the lily. Oh, all the jokes are coming out on this Saturday night, isn't it? I feel like Ben's in with all these terrible jokes. But that is our finished card. I think I'm happy with that. Using our lovely shadow alphabet and some of those papers from that Knitwit Homebody paper pad. Quite a simple design, but just goes to show how easy it is to work with that fabulous shadow alphabet.
Fantastic, love that, really like those colours. So these are your dies that you've got here. So you're going to get the full set of 27 alphabet dies here. Now, in answer to Miriam, how big are these? They range. They're around about 1 3/4 inches, and they vary between like 1 1/2, 1 3/4, depending on which one they are. But you know, they're roughly like just 1 3/4 inch dies, slightly smaller than that. Fantastic price. So obviously getting all the letters that you could possibly need, and they are only £12 or $20. Platinum price is £9.60 or $16. So really good deal you've got here, and I love what you've done there. I love everything that Lily does, because she just does such nice things. We've also, should we look at the Homebody? Yeah, so this is the Homebody Knitwit pad, which is the pad that Lily used in that demonstration. So if I flick through, you will see you've got these double printed or double-sided pages, some of them with very large motifs on them, but some with much smaller ones. But you've got all that beautiful sort of parchmenty colour, the bright pink, and that sort of deep blue, like a soft blue here, almost like kind of the colours I'd imagine in a kind of nursery or sort of children's clothing. It's really pretty here. So this is a 12 by 12 pad. You've got 24 pages in here. This is £12.74 or $14.40. Platinum price is £10.19 or £11.52. The next one we're going to show you is the Positive Thoughts, which is a 12 by 12 pad again. You've got 32 double-sided sheets, and we've got a lot of gold in here, and quite sort of large designs in here as well. And so I've just flicked through. You can see you've got some beautiful colours, these dark teals, sort of like a grape colour, but these ones with these little gold motifs are absolutely stunning, really beautiful, almost like a Baroque kind of feel to this. Great for, you know, this one with the chandelier. They're really pretty papers, and they're really good quality. They feel lovely. They smell delicious as well. I'm sure there are many people that are paper sniffers as well as paper strokers. But you can see you've got these beautiful sort of frosty, sugary pink. They're almost like sugar almonds that you've got in here with those foiling effects on there. So this is 12 by 12 pad, 32 sheets. It's £12.74 or $16.95. And the next one we're going to show you is the Dancing Dragonflies, and we've got this both in the 12 by 12 and also in an 6 by 6. So I'll show you the 12 by 12 so you can get a full idea of what they look like. Again, these are double printed, so double-sided. You've got some really large sort of patterns here, and then the back of them sort of more muted patterns, almost more background patterns you've got here. But really beautiful, vibrant colours, almost jewel-like colours with the emeralds, that kind of sapphire. Lots of gold in here as well, so you've got sort of gold speckles here and there. These are like Monet's water lilies, aren't they? They look very much like that, but really going to work beautifully well with any of your projects. I've got this one at home. and I don't do anything with it. I just look at it because it's so pretty. I don't want to cut into it yet. Might have to buy a second one just to cut into. And so this is £12.74 or $16.95. Platinum price is £10.19, $13.56. And then you've got your 6x6 paper pads. So if you can just see here, you've got all of those designs only just condensed down a little bit smaller. So if you're going to be wanting a sort of smaller pattern on there, but you've got all the same designs, double-sided papers in here as well, in all those colours and motifs. £5.09 or $8.45. Platinum price is £4.07 or £6.76. And the next thing we're going to show you are the Multicraft of alphabet dies. So these can be used for fabric as well as for Papercraft. And Lily, you've got them over there. You're going to do a little demonstration with those, aren't you?
Absolutely. So I'll just show you the dies first of all that you're getting, because you're getting tons within this collection, and they're really chunky, nice meaty dies. Chunky dies, absolutely. So you are getting the uppercase, the lowercase, and your alphabet as well. So you can see on the packaging they look like a really good sized die, but when we actually take them out of the packet, you can see they are really, really nice, striking, big sized dies. So we call them our Multicraft dies because technically they have been designed for people like Becky who sew. I don't do a lot of sewing. I do like sewing, I just don't have the time, to be honest, to sew. But they were designed with sort of your soft crafts in mind. So be thinking of your applique. How fabulous would it be to personalise all your gifts? I'm thinking, you know, like Christmas stockings, anything for the kiddies at Christmas that you want to have their name on. Maybe things like PE bags as well would be perfect. Anything where you want that bit of personalisation in your applique, these will be brilliant. But like we're going to see in demonstration in just a minute, these are great as well for all of your Papercraft. I'm not having anything I'm not letting Becky have something that I can't have, quite frankly. If it's good enough for the sewers, us Papercrafters want a piece of it. You know, we want to sort of get in on the action. We've got to have all the goodies. We don't like it, you know, when one of our crafty friends has got something that we've not got, it's like, oh, I want that. So, you know, we're going to show you how you can...
For ages, Papercraft has had all the
good stuff.
All the stuff.
Yeah.
We've only just started getting all the good stuff.
And now we have to pinch it.
And you're pinching it again.
I know.
Rude. That's
terrible,
isn't it? Rude.
Terrible. But it doesn't matter whether you are a sewer or a paper crafter, anyone can enjoy these. And this final set is a really useful one. And again, they are really good big size dies, but I love the fact that you've got your punctuation. If you're as picky as me and you need those apostrophes in, don't worry, it is included. Your hashtag, if you're down with the kids, which I am certainly not, you might want to use your hashtag.
Hold on a minute, hold on, Lily. You are a kid.
I am a kid, but I'm not down with the kids. There's a difference. But if you are down with the kids, then that hashtag will be a super useful one. And if you are doing sort of like your wedding invites, anniversary cards, your ampersands is going to be really, really useful as well. So not only numbers, but lots of useful punctuation in that particular set. But you are getting all three sets within that collection. Amazing saving on that one that we're getting today. So a great one to add into your crafty stash. You can see the amount of metal that you're getting within these dies. And obviously they are multi-craft, so we are going to show sort of a use with card and paper, but you can be using them for lots and lots of different other sort of surfaces as well. I'm thinking cutting mount board with these would be quite nice if you want to go sort of down the home decor route. I think that would be fabulous. But for this particular demonstration, we're going to go really, really back to basics. We're going to do a super simple design, but with this sort of alphabet, it's going to be really, really quite striking. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the letter M and we're going to cut that letter M out of some of our cardstock. So this is just one of our papers from, that's the racking my brains, it's the Pick and Mix selection. It's an 8x8 paper pad. They came with one of the Year of Craft boxes actually, but then we sort of do them as an individual sort of add-on if you like. So if you are looking for that, that is the Let's Party paper pad. So we're going to cut our M from that piece of pattern paper. So taping it down into position, and then we're going to cut the U in the centre of this piece of white. And the piece of white is about 5 1/4 inches square. Hopefully you can guess what we are spelling out. I'm not sure there's many other options, but we're going to spell out Mum. So perfect for Mother's Day or anything like that. And then we're just going to position that and taping it down onto our cardstock. and then we're just going to run that through our Gemini machine. Now, they are really good size for an alphabet, but they will still fit through your smaller machines. But like I always say, you're limited by the size of your piece of cardstock. So obviously, if you're wanting to be doing like sort of aperture designs, cutting in like we are doing here, obviously consider the size of the piece that you're putting into as to whether it will fit through your machine or not. But obviously, the actual dies themselves will fit through your smaller machines, which is absolutely fabulous. If you are new to crafting and perhaps you've only got one of the smaller machines, you can absolutely still be using these and getting lots and lots of crafty fun and enjoyment out of them.
Rhonda says, don't forget these are multimedia dies and the sandwich is different. Now, when I first got these, I made a fridge magnet because I used my my magnetic shim. And I sort of cut out so you use yours slightly differently, don't you?
I actually use my normal sandwich with mine.
But I think it's because of the way you have your sandwich. So some people use that magnetic shim to put their dies onto, don't they, to hold in place. Could you just go through how your sandwich was for anyone that was watching wasn't sure?
So a little caveat, every machine is different. My machine at home is totally different to this one. So what we give you is a guideline, but always just have a play around with your sandwich. I use perhaps what's not the conventional sandwich, but the sandwich I use is just my thin metal die one. So I go for my clear cutting plate, I go for my magnetic shim, I go for my clear sort of frosted plastic shim and my cutting plate. And the way that I do it is I have my my clear cutting plate on the bottom, and then I pop my die and my cardstock in it, and I never have my magnetic shim touching my die. I always have it the other way around, so that it's actually the plastic shim that touches the die.
Right.
So it's not conventional, but it works for me. But yeah, I must say I do actually use my thin metal die sandwich, which perhaps is not what instructions would tell you.
But you work out what works for you,
absolutely,
don't you?
Yeah. And I know, like with my embossing folders, I have to use a different sandwich here to what I use with my Gemini at home. And technically it's exactly the same machine, but it's just one of those things. Have a little experiment and see what you come up with. So we've got our MUM that we're going to spell out, but similar to what we did this morning, and I have to say it's one of these things, once you start doing it, I get a little bit obsessed, and it's the faux stitching. And
Do you always use a black pen for your faux stitching?
No.
Okay.
So I have I'm lucky enough to have lots of different coloured fine liners. I do love my pens, as you guys know at home. And we do have our art liners in a range of colours. So you can do your faux stitching in any colour you like. I've just chosen black for this particular design, just because the black will really make that red and pink pattern paper that I've chosen, make it really pop and sort of just bring it to life a little bit. But rather than adding another matten layer in, sometimes your faux stitching can actually sort of save you adding in that extra matten layer. It's going to draw your eye into the centre where we've got that word design in the middle, and it's sort of going to frame your design a little bit as well. So like I was saying earlier, I never ever use a ruler, because I think it looks so much better to have them a little bit more jaunty, a little bit of quirkiness to them. I find that if you use a ruler, it looks quite sort of artificial. I don't know how to describe it. It just doesn't look quite right. It looks a little bit sort of robotic, if you like. And I find you get that real homemade, sort of handmade feel by actually using it without a ruler.
Well, you want it to look like it's been hand stitched, don't you? And then they're not going to be totally straight when you're hand stitching around the outside.
So you've got that nice frame onto there. It's not perfectly even, but that is the effect we're going for. I think it does just work so much better for your faux stitching. So that's that layer all done and good to go. What we're going to do now, though, is going to add a piece of acetate behind, and you can probably see where we're going. It's one of those, I've not made one for a little while, and then I'm making two in one day. We're of course going to do a shaker card with this. So a little bit of red liner tape just into the centre there, and then I'm going to add some just around the edge of this sort of aperture. So it's nice to see how we can use our dies. We're going to be using both the positive and the negative on this one card. It's nice to be able to have that 2 for 1. Got those two different options of your ways that you can use those dies. I think sometimes we forget, sometimes we think of them just of using what I sort of describe as the physical die cut, so the actual bit that falls from the die, but always look at your dies and look at the waste and what's being left behind as to what you can actually use. And it's sort of giving you more value for money. Not only are you using that piece that's cut out, you're also using what would traditionally be known as the waste. So it's just giving you that 2 for 1, which is always a good thing. Adding that piece of acetate behind. Going to leave that to one side for just a moment where we bring in some mats and layers. So I've got another piece of that pattern paper, just 1/4 of an inch larger than my first layer. And then we've got our card base, which is just under 6 by 6. I've used a piece of A4 card, and like I was saying earlier, you can't quite get a 6 by 6 inch card base from a piece of A4 card. It's about 5 3/4, so almost 6 by 6, but just under. But if you are wanting a perfect size of perfect 6 by 6 inch card base, do get your hands on that A3 multi-purpose card that you will find on the website. I know everyone's been going absolutely crazy over that. Only launched last Friday, and I know you guys at home, just like me and a lot of the craft experts, are absolutely stocking up. So it's flying out.
How much have you used of it so far?
Do you know what? I'm nearly done my first pack.
No.
I was prepping last night, and I went to go and get a piece. I was like, it's on its way out. You know what I'm like for crafting. Don't worry, the order will be going in first thing Tuesday morning, I can tell you for sure. We do get through our card, especially our multi-purpose. But as you can see here, it's great for your card bases. It's what we've used for this mat and layer as well. So it is multi-purpose. The name is absolutely perfect for that cardstock, because it will just allow you to create so many different things, whether you're using it for stamping, whether you're using it for construction. It is just that sort of perfect cardstock that's got so many different uses. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start to make our shaker. So I'm using some of this adhesive that I was using earlier that we don't talk about, otherwise they start singing in our ears and our ears start to bleed. But we're adding this around the outside of this aperture, so making sure that I've got that continuous wall of adhesive so that we're not going to have a leaky shaker, because as we know, there's nothing worse, and I'm a little bit concerned about that bit there, so I'm going to add sort of like a double wall just to pack that out. And just to make sure that this is going to be nice and strong and adhered well, I'm going to add a little bit of foam at the edges, like so. And then that's going to go onto this particular piece, like so. That looks like it's going to sag a little bit, so I'm going to add a little bit more foam tape top and bottom. We don't want a leaky shaker, and we don't want a saggy shaker either. Make sure I've got my teeth in for that one.
Yeah.
But we're going to add this into the centre. So the way I tend to do it is I will peel the backs off first. Then I'll add my shaker element, whether it be sequins, whether it be glitter, whatever it might be. I'll add that into that centre portion, and then I'll stick it together. I find it's easier, rather than adding all my glitter on and then having to peel all the backing off. I find it's just that little bit easier to actually peel all the backers of your tape off first. So going round, I've got plenty of tape on here, it should be nice and strong for sure. And then what we're going to do is going to add that into the centre. And I've got some of my Cosmic Shimmer glitter jewels here. These are absolutely yummy, I have to say. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, you almost don't want to use them, but you've got to. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add these to the centre. So I'll add a few at a time, and then just sort of measure and check that I've got them in the right place.
So roughly how much would you put in? Like half a
Oh,
teaspoon?
it's one of them questions, isn't it? I like a fairly full shaker, but obviously we've only got quite a small area here for the shaker. So I'm looking at that and thinking about half a teaspoon sounds about right. Probably a little bit lower down than that. You want to make sure that it's not sort of raised up too much and that it's going to catch on the acetate and potentially get sort of squished. So I'm just spreading that out a little bit more. And when I think I've got that about right, I'm going to definitely pop the lid on, because that is an accident waiting to happen, that is for sure. I did it the other day with embossing powder, and that was interesting, trying to get this white embossing powder up from absolutely everywhere. So yeah, trying to put my lids on as soon as I can. And then just press down, and then we have the moment of truth. Have we got a leaky shaker? I think looks like we're good.
Perfect.
So we can see that in the middle, but it looks a little bit odd at the moment. Is it like, have you got a U in your exams? I'm giving you a card. What is it all about?
Congratulations.
What is it? You know, that looks like one of them magnets, doesn't it?
It does.
But it is a letter U, so we're going to actually need to complete our word. So obviously we've got the 2 M's that we cut earlier. We're going to add some of our foam pads to the back of these. So
before you stick them both down, Suzanne Dawn says, what are the sizes like compared with the left fold set?
they are a little bit bigger.
Okay.
So these ones are height-wise about 2 inches. But you'll also find that these are slightly sort of wider than your left fold. The left folds are quite a narrow alphabet, so slightly smaller, but also slightly narrower. These are more, square sounds a little bit strange. I don't know if I want to say they're more square. They are less narrow, I'd say, but they are a little bit bigger than your left folds. I'd say these are slightly more bold in design than the left fold alphabet, which is why it's always important to have sort of more than one. They're both different, both offer sort of different designs, so perfect for different recipients depending on who you're sending them to. But these particular ones are about 2 inches in height. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I think it does. So the left fold, I was looking at them, they're about 2 inches by 1.7, so they're slightly bigger.
Yeah, ever so slightly bigger. And obviously these are your multi-craft dies as well, so they've been designed so they can go through lots of different materials. So if you are wanting to do your applique using your fabrics, your felts, you could be cutting these out your mount board, like I was saying earlier, and then these will be the ones to definitely go for, whereas your left folds are purely papercraft dies, so for your papers and your cards. I mean, with your Gemini, you could probably get them through certain fabrics, but I don't think you'd probably be doing that anyway with them being, having that left fold design. But yeah, these are a little bit larger than your other ones.
So, like you say, it's always nice to have a mixture of different types of alphabet dies, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's just those different sort of designs for different recipients, different styles of card. You're going to want different styles of alphabet as well. It's not sort of a one-size-fits-all sort of thing. So we're adding that onto the bottom right, and then onto the top left, we're going to add our other M onto there just to complete the design. But something really modern, something really, really simple, clean and fresh, showing how you can use both the innie and the outie, if you like, both the positive and the negative of your, I was going to call them left folds then, your multi-craft alphabets to create a shaker card. Really, really quick and easy and simple to do, but quite a nice modern design onto there.
Fantastic, love that. Very nice. My mum would be delighted to receive that.
Oh, shall I send it to your mum? You can have it.
To my mum. I forgot to send her a birthday card this year. Isn't that bad? I still haven't taken her out for a birthday card. So rude, so rude. I don't know what's wrong with me. Lots of people are messaging in and saying hello. It's lovely to hear from everybody. Glad to know everyone's well. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. Some of the other things we've got on the show, we've got some vellums as well on the show. We've got a mixture of different vellums here. So the first one is your 8x8 vellum pad, which is the 3-pack here. That's that one. Not the first one I'd got. So you've got a mixture of, you've got the dancing dragonflies, so you've got some patterned ones there, but you've also got some plain vellums as well. Can I again give them a little flutter of vellum? They're really pretty, really lovely. And I was one of those people that loved vellum, but didn't really know what to do with it. And when I watched the Vellum Masterclass a few weeks ago, I was enthralled by all the different things that you could do. You've also got these plain ones over here, so sort of plain colours. There's a whole host of different things you can do, and I've left all of my vellums in the packaging. I didn't really do very much with them, but I have got them out now and started crafting with them. So that is your dancing dragonflies. The next one is your country lane. So that, again, you've got some really pretty designs in here. If I open this one up as well, you can see the difference. So these are all the patterns from those paper pads, but on vellum. And you can see they are really, really beautiful. And in fact, you can't really see me holding up how pretty the colours are, because you're seeing them against my black top rather than sort of white or a pale colour background. But you've got all those different colours and patterns that are in that the paper pad collection there. Then the next one we've got is your vintage butterflies. Again, you've got all of those different patterns with all those butterflies in there. Each one of these packs contains 24 sheets of vellum. Price for all three in the collection is £29.99 or $38.99. Platinum price is £23.99 or $31.19. We also have the other 2-pack of the vellums. You've got Hummingbird, which is this one here. So I'll open that one up for you as well, so you can see the different designs here. There we go. You've got all those different, that has been trashed, hasn't it? I don't know what people have done with that. let's hope it's not a mouse that's been chewing on the paper pads or vellum pads. Really beautiful pictures of this hummingbird in here. And if you were lucky enough to get the hummingbird collection before, these would obviously sort of be great for all those paper pads and the dies that came with the collection. The next one is a sunflower collection, which was super, super popular. Again, I'll open it up, try and get them out without dropping them on the floor. But you know, beautiful colours, not just yellows. When I first sort of saw this, I thought everything was going to be yellow in this collection. But you've got lots of beautiful greens and blues in here. Obviously, the sunflowers are the main attraction in here, but you've got some really pretty designs, as well as lots of sort of open space here. So if you just wanted to use some of this kind of script in the middle of this part here, you absolutely can do so. So this is a 2-pack. This is the sunflowers and the hummingbird that you're getting in here. These are your 8x8 vellums, 24 pages in each one. That's £19.99 or $24.99. Platinum price is £15.99 or $19.99. The next one we're going to have a look at are the mini sentiments, which are, where are you? Mini sentiments. Why can I not find you? Because they're mini. They're down here. They're teeny ones. These ones here. These ones here with a little alphabet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got these. Well, let's start with the alphabet first of all, because I thought these were absolutely gorgeous. Teeny, tiny alphabet. If I turn around the back, you can see how mini these are. I could almost fit one of those on my nail. They're that small. Beautiful little dies. Going to be great for just embellishing anything that you've got. You know, doing like a little Christmas card with someone's name personalised on it, but yet not having to use the large dies. Perhaps you've got someone with a really long name, and it's difficult to fit that onto a card. You could obviously do that with these. You're going to get the little numbers here, as well as your punctuation marks too. Then you've got some of your sentiments in here. So you've got congrats, you've got happy birthday, then you've got special friend, this one is just for you, and then the final 2 are best wishes and with love. Price today is £29.94 or $35.94. Platinum price is £23.95, platinum or $28.75. Are these the ones you're going to be using in the next demonstration, Lily? These
certainly are.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to this.
I love these. I think
like
these are absolutely fabulous.
They're so mini, they may just find their way into my pocket.
Oh, well, if you're having them, I'm having that travel mug.
They're going to come in tomorrow and there's going to be nothing here because we've taken it all home. But these are gorgeous. Let's have a look and see what you're doing.
Absolutely, they are absolutely fabulous. I do love these darts. And like I was saying on the earlier show, for me, these are sort of my go-tos. If I need a sentiment just to finish off a card, these tend to be the set that I actually use for that. So they are fabulous to use as that finishing touch. But what we'd like to show here is how we can actually sort of create backgrounds and focal elements just with these sentiments. So the one that I'm using is quite possibly my favourite design. It's this With Love. I love, well, no pun intended, I love the font with this because it's slightly swirly in design, but it's still very readable. Which makes it perfect for all your makes, really. And what we're doing is we're going to run that through our die cutting machine. I've just popped that at the top of my Gemini plate. I'm going to listen for the noise. I can hear that it's gone through and I'm just going to reverse it back out. Of course, if you've got your mini machine, these are absolutely perfect. They've been designed specifically for your Gemini Mini. But of course, if you've not got a mini machine, you can just be using these in any die cutting machine at all, with them being thin metal dies. But if you are sort of crafting on the go, perhaps you've got a little lap tray that you craft on, you've not got a lot of space, or you just want to get your little machine out rather than having your full-size Gemini, then these are going to be perfect because you know that they're going to fit through your smaller machines as well. So what we've got is we've got our lovely die cut out of that really nice sort of greeny bluey spearminty colour, I'd probably say, and some really nice detail on there, but it's not too girly, not too swirly, that it wouldn't be appropriate for your masculine makes. It would be perfect for those as well. And all we're going to do is we're going to take this piece. I've cut another one out of some of our gold glitter cardstock, and that's just part of our A4 luxury gold glitter card. You'll find that on the website. It's the one where you have 3 sheets of your gold glitter. You have 3 sheets of the matte mirror and 3 sheets of what I call the proper proper shiny mirror, what we think of as our traditional mirror card. And what we've done is we've just cut that from the gold glitter, and you can see even with your glitter card, it is quite a small die, quite a delicate and intricate die. We still get a perfect die cut, and that's testament to not only the quality of the dies, but also the quality of that cardstock as well. And just drop shadowing that onto that little bit of gold really does make that design stand out a little bit more. I'm going to bring in a few mats and layers now, really nice mini little mats and layers. So my first one, and I've used just some of my nesting circle dies to cut these out. So I'm using my multi-purpose card for this first one, and then we're going to mat and layer that onto a slightly larger gold glitter circle. And then for our final mat and layer, we're going to mat and layer that onto that same green that we cut our sentiment out of. So a few mats and layers just to really build up the design. It's going to draw our eye into the centre. I'm going to place our sentiment into the middle of there, and what I've found with this one is you've got some elements of that particular design where it's a little bit thicker, and I have found that you can get your foam tape or your foam pads behind some of those areas. So I have found that if you cut it down, you can sneak them behind, so it is big enough to still add a little bit of dimension if that's what you're wanting to do, but just for speed. Oh yes.
Oh, that's a good one.
There we go.
Dimension.
Didn't even realise that I did it, but you know, that's how good I am. I just say it without even realising. So we're adding that onto there, like so, but I want to add even more dimension. I'm going to show you a little tip and trick that we can do in order to do that. So I've actually die cut this sentiment a few more times, and what I'm going to do, and this has been cut from that same greeny coloured cardstock, and this is actually some of the cardstock from that Sarah Signature Country Lane A4 card, as we're going to be using some of the papers later from that paper pad, if you have had your eye on that. So I'm going to add that onto the top of that, and then I'm just going to cut. I'm not going to cut anymore. I'm going to actually add some more glue onto that, and we're actually going to layer these up. So we're creating a much thicker embellishment. So rather than using our foam tape or our foam pads behind, by cutting this several times, so I've cut this 4 times from this lovely spearminty colour, and layering these up, it gives you almost like a chipboard embellishment. So it's giving you that dimension without having to actually add any foam tape or pads behind. It's going to give us that little bit of lift, and it's going to make that sentiment stand out even more. So that's our, I believe it's our 4th layer, and by this point we've got a really nice 3D embellishment onto there. Doesn't it just make a difference? Just a few extra die cuts, and it does just make that pop that little bit more. I'm going to bring in our card base now. So what we've got is we've got a 6x6, well just under, because we've used our A4 cards. So again, it is ever so slightly under 6x6 in size, and we've got some mats and layers. So our first mat and layer is from that Country Lane, Sarah Signature Country Lane 12x12 inch paper pad. Really lovely green design. I love the fact that it almost looks like it's being gilded. So you've got lots and lots of layers to this particular paper. So you've got like almost like a wood grain effect in the background. You've got elements that look like they're being gilded. You've got bits that look really like they're textured, like almost like a linen type texture onto there. So lots and lots of lots of bits to look at when you see this particular design. My tape runner's given up on me. I think I'm going to have to go for my dotty one until I get that changed.
We don't seem to have many tape pens around at the moment.
But it's not good, is it? It is quite worrying how short we are. But yeah, not good. So we're adding that onto that piece of the green, and then we're going to layer this into the centre of our card base. I think this is a goner, to be honest, this one. Yeah, it is. Can you see the little bit of foil on there? Don't think we've got any more in here.
We'll have to call Tracy.
Oh, I do have one more.
One more.
Let's hope it works. Oh yes, here we go. At home I do tend to actually use my Collall all-purpose glue, because it does give me that little bit of wiggle room, but just for speed while we're here, I'm using my tape runner. You could be using your finger lift double-sided if you find that easier as well. Completely up to you. I know adhesives is one of those things, it's real sort of personal choice, and you know, we can argue for hours here at Crafters Companion and Multicraft experts about what's the best adhesive for this and what do you use for your decoupage and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, it's just your personal preference and whatever you find easiest to use. So what we're doing now is we've got that piece onto that left-hand side. So same mats and layers, but just a slightly smaller piece to fit on that left-hand side. and then that's going to form the basis of our card. So that's a fold back card, but we're actually going to turn this into a Z fold. So we've got this extra piece, and this is basically what you get when you make your card bases out of A4. It's that bit that you chop off the top, and I've chopped mine down to 2.5 inches in width. And what we're going to do is we've got a few mats and layers, so the same pattern papers and the same sort of configuration, if you like, of mats and layers for these two panels that we used on the front of the card we're using for this little piece that goes in the inside. So that Country Lane 12 by 12 inch pattern paper going onto a piece of our gold glitter card, and then finally onto our green card, just like so. And these are the two pieces that are going to go in these two inner portions of this particular card fold. So we're going to mat and layer that onto that side, and just making sure that's nice and straight. Of course, if you are using your wet glues, you do have that sort of moment of wiggle room. So if you're not as confident with your matting and layering, then that is the perfect adhesive to go for. And then that one's going on the left. But for this particular piece, we're going to do something a little bit different. So we've got our mats and layers, same as before. The only difference is, instead of using that pattern piece, we have got a plain white piece.
Okay.
I'm going to leave those two to one side, and what I've done is I've actually die cut the sentiment 3 more times, but from pattern paper. We're actually going to use this to sort of build our own little pattern paper, if you like, with the design from those die cuts. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some adhesive onto the back of one. And again, I'm using my dotty tape runner. Your fine tip glue applicator would work perfectly as well with your tacky glue. But for speed, we're going to go for our dotty tape runner. And then we're going to stick our next one. And I'm trying to be random with this. I always say I find it very hard to be random and sporadic with things like this. But we're trying to be random and add that like so. And then our third one, going to have onto that side just to complete that design. It's just going to give us this effect almost like it's a pattern paper, but obviously all it is some white cardstock with a few die cuts onto there, just to give us a slightly different look and feel, just something a little bit different for your projects. I think is going to look really quite nice. And what I'm going to do is then we just turn it over from the reverse and we just trim off, and I find it's much easier to do that from behind. And then I think we'll add that onto there, just for that extra little bit onto there like so, and then we can go around and trim that bit off. And always easier to trim afterwards, of course, after we've stuck it down. And by trimming from the rear of our cardstock, we can see exactly where we need to trim, which makes it a lot easier than trying to trim from that front side of our card. So just going around to neaten up those edges and just complete that design like so. So what we've got is we've got our all over design. We've got sort of created our own pattern paper, just using a couple of die cuts. That's not quite stuck, there we go, from Art With Love to create our own pattern paper. Something a little bit different, that could be really sort of modern if you wanted it to be. You could make that into almost like a graffiti style design if you wanted to, just for something that little bit different. Perfect for teenagers' cards as well. I think some of these mini sentiments are great for your more modern cards if you want them to be. So lots of different options with these. And then we're going to stick that onto our little bit of our gold cardstock, and then we're going again onto a piece of our same green card, just to keep those same mats and layers. Even though we've changed up that first layer, our mats and layers are staying the same for this particular design. So that's going onto the centre like so.
That looks lovely.
Doesn't it look, just think a little bit different, isn't it? Rather than having that same pattern paper, just breaking it up a little bit with that design. So we've basically created our own pattern paper, which is always something really quite satisfying about. We've not had to get our inks out or anything like that, but it's still giving us that little sort of personalised touch to our makes. And then the finishing touch is to stick that onto that front panel. So that's that part of our Z fold done. Then what we need to do is actually stick that to our card base. And I always say it's
collection
easier.
is that paper from? Is that from?
It's the Sarah Signature Country Lane 12 by 12. Yeah.
Those colours are so pretty. The gold and the green is lovely.
So what I did is I chose my pattern paper first. And then I chose the cardstock because that's from the same collection, so picking out that green tone, and then to pick out the gold that we've got in those love hearts. That sort of was my thought process as to why I chose to use the gold card. And by adding the layer of gold between the pattern paper and the green, it just breaks it up a little bit. If I were to add the pattern paper directly onto the green, it would get a little bit lost and it sort of wouldn't stand out as much. But by adding that layer of gold in between just really makes it pop and gives you that contrast.
Yeah.
So I've added that onto there using our tape runner. Then we're going to bring back in our sentiment that we created earlier, our little topper. I'm going to use some foam pads to actually stick this down, and what you can do is you can add a little bit of a pencil mark on the back to sort of guide you as to where to pop your foam pad so you don't sort of end up closing your card shut, but I'm going to go for it, and I'm hoping that I'm not going to overstick, so to speak. And then we're going to add this into the very centre. So basically we already want adhesive along that left side and that bottom side so that we don't close our card and sort of seal it. And then just make sure that's nice and central. Have I got too much adhesive? No, I think we're all good on there. We might need another little piece onto that top section just to make sure it's stuck down nicely. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my foam pads, peel that back ever so slightly and just pop that down there for a little bit more support. And just to balance it out a little bit, just to finish it off, I have got a ribbon bow that I've tied. Hopefully it's not a naff bow.
It's a perfect bow.
Perfect bow, not a naff bow. We don't like naff bows, but I've used
What makes a naff bow?
I don't know. I don't know what was wrong with them, but apparently yes. I was told before, if you didn't catch the earlier show, I was told that I made really naff bows a few years ago. Not by me.
Just going to say that, not by me.
Because Becky said I made lovely bows. I said, oh, a few years ago I was told I made really naff bows. So hopefully
I think
I've improved.
they didn't know what they were talking about.
Clearly not. They need to get themselves an Ultimate Pro and use their bow maker. That's what I've used to create this bow. And then just on that top left-hand corner, I'm going to add that onto there. Like I was saying earlier, I can't add it onto the right-hand side. I don't know why. It works on the left in my mind, so that's what we're going with. And then that is our card all finished. A Z-fold card, using your mini dies as an embellishment, but also to create your own pattern papers, just something a little bit different. And of course, bringing in that Sarah Signature Country Lane 12 by 12 inch pad as well.
Lovely, absolutely beautiful, stunning. We've had, Rena said the mini set is amazing. The letters are so danged cute. A lot of great dies to work with, even on little tags and such. I completely agree. Anne said the hold and release sheets are great to use with a tiny alphabet. I took Craig's advice and kept the dies on their carrier sheet. So you cut them. So when you cut down the whole alphabet holding sheets, you can easily save the unused letters. That's a really good idea. Lots of people saying clever idea, really great. Mary says my bows do not turn out that nice. I've been making them on the Ultimate Pro for 7 years too. Beautiful card, Lily, from Eileen. Everybody loves those, and they are absolutely beautiful. So this collection is of these teeny tiny little dies. This is your mini sentiments and alphabet sets. So you've got your alphabet first of all, really, really tiny dies. If I turn them round, you will see how wee they are, almost just the size of my fingernail really. So they really are very, very tiny. So that's your alphabet. Your next one is your numbers and your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your
ordinals.
Ordinals, and what's the other word? Punctuation. I've forgotten that. Then you've got some mini sentiments. So you've got congrats, you have got happy birthday, you've got special friend, and just for you, and best wishes, and then with love. This is £29.94 or $35.94. Platinum price is £23.95 or $28.75. The next thing we're going to have a look at is a Country Lane pad. That'll be the one right at the bottom.
Always.
No, which one? Where are you? There we go. So we're going to look at this. We've got 12 by 12 and we've also got a 6 by 6. So these are double sided pads, so 12 by 12 paper, really beautiful flowers in here, lots of sort of pretty patterns. I mean, they're almost like, you're looking through, your garden in the height of summer. So you've got some really large patterns in here, but also on the reverse of those pages, you've got those sort of more muted patterns, sort of more sort of background designs in there. Lots of wood effect, wood grain effect in here as well. Really lovely. I love that little almost like the skeletons of your leaves that you've got on here, which look like they're actually sort of gold, but they're sort of gold coloured. They're not sort of not too shimmery with your hydrangeas. Really, really pretty papers in there. So you're going to be getting that. That's your 180 GSM, 36 pages, and then you'll get the 6x6 separately. So 12 by 12, first of all, is £14.44 or $16.95. Then your 6x6. The same patterns of paper, but obviously a little bit smaller. So we've not taken the paper and just cut it down. You have actually got a smaller pattern in there, which makes it really, really usable. Again, you're going to get all those colours, all those patterns that you had in the 12 by 12 pad. The price for this is £5.09 or $8.45. Your platinum price is £4.07 or $6.76. The next thing we're going to go to is, if I can get my talk back working, because I can't hear anybody. Dancing Dragonfly? Is that the next one?
Which one are we going to? Are we looking at the dies next, or are we going to look at one of the paper pads? We're going to look at some of the dies. Shall we look at some of the left fold alphabets?
Left fold alphabet, yeah, that's great.
It's going to be our next demo. So
sorry, I can't hear what's going on. So I'm relying on Lily to tell me what's happening. We've
quite possibly the best way, Becca. If they're singing that song.
Yeah, to be honest, maybe I've just switched it off because they were singing again.
Yes, quite possible, isn't it?
That's what I'm going to say. So these are your left fold alphabets. Now I know Craig uses these and then he will cut this left fold here and use them as a whole alphabet. So you can absolutely do that. But they are made to produce, be sort of folded back like this, so you can have your different kind of colours or patterns behind those. So you're going to be getting all of those in the pack. You'll also be getting your numbers as well, so you've got all of those numbers, but you'll also, as a little bonus, you'll be getting this stamp and die set. So we talked about this before, like bunting is really kind of key, and we all like to use a little bit of bunting in our cards. So this bunting set of stamps and dies is going to be absolutely used all the time. It's going to be one of those ones you keep on your crafting table and don't put away. So you're getting this as well, and also the heartfelt wishes. So you've got lots of sort of florals, butterflies, all those kind of things, and sentiments in there as well. The price for this is £37 or $49. Platinum price is £29.60 or $39.20. And Lily, you're going to be using this left fold alphabet in your next demonstration, aren't you?
Certainly am. I'm going to be using some of those lovely vellums as well that Becky's shown us, and some 12 by 12 papers. Lots of lovely crafty goodies we're going to be using on this particular demo, but the main focus is going to be that fabulous left fold alphabet. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a piece of paper from our Sarah Signature Dancing Dragonfly collection. Of course, I've got a piece of red liner tape backing stuck to my finger. What else? You know, that stuff gets absolutely everywhere, always. So what we've got is we've got some of our letters, and I love the fact that on our left fold alphabets, I'll just take you through. Of course, a few of mine are missing that I'm going to use in the demonstration, but of course I won't have nicked any of your dies when you get them home. Yours will all be intact, and you'll have that full set of all the letters. So you can see they're a really nice large size. Like we had that question earlier from one of our lovely viewers, they are a little bit thinner than our Multicraft. So if we look at the Multicraft, we can see the Multicraft's a little bit wider and a little bit larger than our left fold. And obviously with our left fold, we do have that left fold element, that folding sort of design that we've got onto these. So it does just give you that little bit of something different when it comes to creating your cards. Or as we're going to actually make here, we're going to make a gift box. So of course, don't just be thinking about your cards, think about perhaps your gift tags, scrapbook pages, this would look amazing on as well. So lots of different options for these. It's not just, I don't like saying just cards, because I do predominantly even make cards, and it sounds like I'm doing them as sort of a bit of a disservice, like there's something wrong with making cards and it's boring, and that's obviously not the case when that's sort of what I absolutely love doing, but I'm talking about how you've got so many different options more than anything. So what we're doing here is we're lining those up. So we've got the word love. We're feeling the love at this time on a Saturday night. Why on earth not?
I need to see me through.
Absolutely. There we go. A
little bit of 90s house music. That's what you need on
a Saturday night
weekend.
Absolutely. Why not? So we're feeling the love with this, and I'm using that same technique of using that long piece of tape onto there and then just picking them all up. And I've slightly moved that, but hey ho, that should be about all right. We're just going to line that up, but by the fact that I've actually taped those all together, I know that the spacing's right, and then we're just going to line that up with my cardstock to make sure it's nice and central. And once I'm happy that it's central, I know all my letters are lined up together nicely, I'm just going to stick that down, and then we're going to run that through our Gemini machine. So the paper that I'm using is from that lovely Dancing Dragonfly 12 by 12 inch paper pad. So don't just think of cutting into your card, think of cutting into your pattern papers as well, and that's going to give you a slightly different finish but a really nice effect when you're using your left fold alphabets. Running that through the machine, and then when it comes out the other side, we're going to have this cut design. So like I was saying with the earlier card, of course you could be leaving these dies taped together and then sort of batch making with this one, so that you've got the dies taped together, and you can just take that to the next piece of cardstock and you're good to go. You don't have to line up an extra piece. So you can see we've got that cut into there like so, and then we've got our left fold element. What I always do is you get that extra piece in the centre of the O, and I always save that, and we're actually going to sort of paper piece that back in when we come to stick everything together. But we're going to leave that to one side for just a moment. I'm just going to untape our dies because I'm not doing another of these designs right away. I'm going to remove that low tack tape, and always use your low tack tape to position these when you're running them through the die cutting machine, not just any sort of sticky tape. It has to be your low tack tape just to make sure that it's not going to sort of rip your cardstock. And then what we're going to do is we're taking the same letters again, and this is a piece of, dare I say the name, it is some of our cardstock. It's kind of like dark purple, but it's not quite called that.
It's
deep purple. It's deep purple. It's our Centura Pearl, and you will find that, I believe we've got it as a part of a bundle on the Shop the Day category. So lovely Centura Pearl. The colour will match absolutely perfectly with that Sarah Signature Dancing Dragonfly piece that we've actually just used to cut our letters into. And we're not worrying about the fact that it's had slightly scraggy edges to this cardstock. I mean, by my standards, that's quite good actually. It's not too bad onto there, but we're not worrying about this because we're actually going to chop these out. So we're going to remove our dies from our cardstock and just removing the tape from there. I don't need for this particular piece, I don't need that centre of the O, so I'm just going to leave that to one side, move the dies out of the way, and then all we're going to do is we're just going to snip along that score line. So one continuous cut is going to release all of those letters nice and easy, and all it is a case of just going along and snipping along all of those cut lines, those score lines even, and that will give you your letters. I've done that for all of them, so I've got the L, the O, the V and the E. Hopefully I know my alphabet, and hopefully I've got all the right letters to paper piece. I say paper piece, it is kind of like paper piecing, just adding that extra contrasting layer is going to make these letters pop out even more. So we're going to bring back in the one that we've cut. I tend to, first of all, I'll sort of fold that base layer just so that I've got I've reinforced that score line before I stick down the letter. It just makes it a little bit easier, and then when we come to stick down the letter and we fold the two when they're stuck together, it's just a little bit easier to get that nice sharp crisp fold into there. So folding those all back, and then I'm going to flat them down a little bit while I stick down my letters. So I'm going to use just some of my tape runner so it's nice and quick. So just using that onto the back of there. You could be using 3D foam if you prefer. I find sticking these down flat works quite nicely when you are using that contrasting layer over the top. But can you see it just starts to really make those letters pop against that background, makes them stand out that little bit more. So adding the O onto that, and it's nice and easy to line up. After all, we've used the same die for both layers, so they'll be exactly the same size, and that's the brilliant thing about using your dies. You know that it's going to be perfect every single time, unlike if you're hand cutting things, and things can be a little bit different. They can be a little bit
takes the guesswork out of it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It just levels the playing field. So if you are a new crafter, you can still get those perfect results. You don't have to have been doing it for however many years. You can get those perfect results right from the off, right from when you start crafting. So that's our topper just about done. I'm going to add this onto a matten layer, and all I've done is I've gutted out the centre just because I don't want any of that purple showing behind this particular design. So I'm going to add some tape just around the edges of our piece, and then we're going to add it to our purple matten layer. And again, it's the 1/4 inch matten layer that we've got onto there, just for a nice thin border, just that little flash of purple around the edges, but nothing sort of too heavy or too much colour onto there. So that's that piece, all just about straight, yeah, just about straight, all done and good to go, but none of the purple showing behind. We're going to bring in, I was going to say our card base then, but we're actually going to use, create a box. So I've cut 2 pieces to 6 inches by 8.5, and I've scored at 1 1/4 on all 4 sides. I've taken those sections out. If you're wondering how to create boxes, you'll find a little bit more about that on this afternoon's craft along. We actually popped that great big box together. So I explain a little bit more about how you can, why we sort of take those little triangles out. It's all about reducing bulk when we come to fold our boxes together. And what we're doing around this aperture, we've just cut that aperture into the centre, probably about 1/2 inch frame around the outside, and we're just adding some red liner tape around the edges of there, and then we're just taking a piece of vellum from that Sarah Signature Dancing Dragonfly, and we're going to add that onto the top section, just like so.
I love those colours. I like a deep purple. Not going to sing it again.
Well, yes.
But I'm a big Prince fan, so purple's always going to be one of my favourite colours.
I do love purple. It's not just because I'm here working for Crafters Companion.
Oh, yeah,
I do love me purple, full stop. But we're going to have our vellum behind, and then we're going to add our layer over the top.
Gorgeous.
Just deciding, I think let's go for some foam. Let's go for a little bit of height and dimension onto here.
Do you need to fill that box with Parma violets?
Oh, yes. Oh, I do like a Parma violet.
Do you?
I do. It's funny, it was my birthday the other month, and some of the guys through in the office bought me a massive bag of Parma violets because they know that I love Parma violets. I got
From round the corner?
I'm not sure where they got it from, quite possibly. But yeah, this great big massive like bumper sharing bag of Parma violets. I do like a good Parma violet, as my mum always describes them as old lady's perfume.
It is a little bit like that, but I do quite like it. And I like the fact that when I have Parma violets at home, no one else in my family likes them.
Yes, it's
so
always
you get
good.
to eat them all to yourself. It's like licorice all sorts. No one in my family likes licorice all sorts apart from me.
Oh.
Or anchovies.
Ooh, no.
But not anchovies with licorice all sorts, because that'd just be wrong.
It could be nice. It could be one of those things that's so wrong it's right. You
well, like
never
Heston
do
Blumenthal puts in his latest recipe, Parma violets and anchovy flan.
Well, yeah, if you see that coming up, you know that he's been watching Crafters TV. That's where he gets all these culinary ideas
You
from.
might be right there. I'm not entirely sure people will like Parma violets and anchovies, but you know,
you
we'll
never
give it a
do
whirl.
know. Never do know. Anyway, back to the Parma violet coloured card, which is where it sort of came from. Adding that onto there with some foam, we can see when we lift those up, we've got that design of the vellum behind. And then we've got some mats and layers that we're going to add onto the sides of our box. So that same lovely pattern paper from the Dancing Dragonfly pad. And then again, we've added it onto that matten layer of that deep purple to keep that design sort of flowing from the top of the box to the side. So everything's going to work together really quite nicely. I've flattened my O. Oh dear. Not what you want. And I've just realised I've not added it on just yet. I saved that little middle section.
You're right, that does finish it off,
doesn't it make a difference?
A very minor thing to remember to do.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything extra because you've already cut that out, but it makes such a difference.
Absolutely, and it's those, I always go on about it, but it's always those little finishing touches that really elevate your design. So take them from being sort of lovely cards or boxes or whatever project it might be to those real show-stopping special projects. And it is just those little details. I always say it's all in the details, those tiny little finishing touches that will really bring your projects to life. And then our final matten layer, I'm going to pop onto that bottom section, just like so. And then at this point, I tend to build my box. So what I always say is always get your flat mats and layers done before you actually fold your box up. But anything sort of 3D embellishment-wise, I don't find it any more difficult to add them when it's built. But anything that's flat, it's a lot easier when you've got that box still as a flat piece to actually add those layers on. But anything like bows or gems or pearls, I'll tend to actually add those after I've folded this box together and created it into an actual proper 3D box. So what we've got is we've got some red liner tape just onto these 4 little tabs. I do find that your red liner tape is your best one to go for when it comes to your construction. So we're adding that one piece onto each tab. You can add a little bit more if you've got a little bit more time, just for that extra sort of firm grab onto there. But this should be enough to make a nice strong box. And just folding each panel up just like so, and then going around to the next one. And then we did exactly the same size piece of cardstock for our box base. And this is the beauty of using something like your Ultimate Pro or your boxer board, where you've got a separate side of the scoreboard for both your lid and your base. So that means that you've got a piece of cardstock that's cut to exactly the same size as your lid, but because of that box making technology that's built into those boards, it means that your lid's going to be about 1/8 of an inch bigger than your base, but you're not having to cut the cardstock to any different sizes. You're not having to measure or add 1/8 of an inch on or anything like that. Everything's already been thought out and done for you.
Makes it nice and easy.
Absolutely. I mean, I was saying to Becky earlier, I quite like the maths of putting boxes together, but I know most people don't, so it does just make it easier and a lot quicker as well. And the cardstock that I've used for this box is, of course, some of our multi-purpose card. It's going to give us a really nice strong box with it being 300 GSM, and white cardstock contrasts nicely against the purples that we've got. So we add the lid and base together. Just to finish it off, I've got a ribbon bow. So this is actually from the seam binding from that Sarah Signature Dancing Dragonfly collection. That's, of course, going onto the top left. And then to go onto the bottom right, I've taken one of the Dragonfly dies. That's from, again, the Sarah Signature Dancing Dragonfly collection. If you do have that at home, that's the collection that's come out of. It's come out of that water lily frame that's within there, and that's just going to be flying onto that bottom side of the box, just for that balance from the top left where we've got the ribbon bow to that bottom right hand corner. I'm just going to shape the wings a little bit more for added bit of depth and dimension. We're using our lovely left fold alphabets and our Sarah Signature Dancing Dragonfly vellums and papers, creating something that's quite simple in design, but wouldn't that make a cute little gift? Yeah,
Stunning, absolutely stunning, as always, beautiful. So that's our left fold alphabet dies. So these are the ones we've got just here. Yeah, you're going to be getting in the collection the alphabet, you'll also be getting the numbers, but on top of that, you'll also be getting this stamp and die set. So you can see here, you've got all sorts of different stamps and dies. You've got those bunting, you've got sort of like party motifs in here, and then these ones have got all your sort of floral, your butterflies rather, and sentiments in there as well. £37 or $49. Platinum price is £29.60 or $32.20. We also have some Centura Pearl card on the show in lots of different colours. So first of all, we've got your cherry, which is this one here. Then we have mint, which is this lovely sort of pale sort of minty green. You're going to get 80 sheets in this collection. You're going to get your deep purple. You're going to get your lavender, very, very pretty colour there. You'll get your royal blue, which is going to be perfect if you've bought that Bethlehem collection we had on earlier today. You're going to get your baby pink, and you'll also get your baby, is that just called, yeah, it's baby pink, baby blue, and then finally you'll be getting your black Centura Pearl in there. Fabulous price again, £25 or $45. Platinum price is £20 or $36. Then we're going to have a look at the Knitwits Kindly Thoughts 12 by 12 pad. This is really pretty with these very fresh blue and yellow colours. So again, you've got double printed. So the Knitwits designs tend to be sort of a bit bolder, and perhaps the Sarah Signature ones. So you can see you've got all those different patterns here, double-sided pages. All those colours are going to work perfectly together, but you can see sort of very light, summery, sort of springtime kind of colours in those blues and yellows. Got a few checks in there as well. So this is 12 by 12 paper pad. 24 double-sided sheets. And then the next one we've got is Enchanted Dreams, which is your 6 by 6 paper pad. So this, if you've already got the 12 by 12, you'll notice it's the same patterns, but just made a little bit smaller. So you've got beautiful ones, that you can immediately make a fabulous card just out of these ones. But I think these are so pretty. The colours, those sort of lilacs and all those anemones you've got in here, they really are like an ethereal kind of magical look to them. Lots of unicorns in here. here, and beautiful colours. Those ones with those rainbows are absolutely stunning. And you get 32 sheets in here. So this is your 6x6 paper pad, £5.09 or £8.45. You're saving 15% on that. Platinum price is £4.07 or $6.76. The next thing we're going to be looking at are the you've got the packs over there, haven't you, of the Multicraft alphabet dies?
Yep, absolutely, I certainly do. So I shall show you the actual packets themselves. So first of all, we have got our fabulous uppercase alphabet, so really nice bold designs on here. You can see if we actually look at the dies themselves, if they don't all fall on the floor, we've got a really nice size to these particular alphabet dies. They're about 2 inches in height, so really nice size if you are doing your applique or if you're doing card making, scrapbooking, as we're going to show in a little while. We're going to do a little scrapbook page to finish, but great size on there, and of course not just for your applique, for your paper crafts as well. So that's your uppercase. Same sort of idea with your lowercase as well. So of course you can be using these separate to the uppercase, but obviously you can be mixing and matching the uppercase and the lowercase to get that sort of grammatically correct finish to your makes, if that's what you're looking for. If you're a little bit of a stickler like me, then you might want to be using both of those together. And then of course the finishing touch is to have all those numbers, so great for personalising big birthdays, perhaps it's an anniversary, maybe it's even a date, and of course you do have your punctuation and sort of like your ampersands, you've got your hashtag, all of those are included within this die set as well. So you're getting a real comprehensive collection here. Your 3 sets of dies across the 3 sets of dies, you've got 73 elements. When we say elements, we mean dies. Whopping great chunky meaty dies as well. So lots you can be doing with these, with them being a really nice size. Absolutely fabulous to have these in this collection. That's what we're going to use for our next demo. So we're going to start by actually cutting our alphabet. Not the whole alphabet, don't worry. Well, might take us the rest of the show, cutting the whole alphabet. But the thing about these that I love is the fact that all the letters are separate. So it's up to you how many letters you cut, which letters you cut. You're not sort of, I mean, I've bought dies in the past where they're all on one sheet and you have to cut every single letter at once, and it's a bit like, I don't want a U, I don't want this letter, I don't want a Z, I want more than one A or whatever. These are perfect to have the letters separately, and like we showed with that earlier demo, creating that shaker card, it means that you can use both the positive and the negative, so you can use almost the waste to create your apertures for shaker cards, for frames, anything like that. So you don't just have to use that, what I sort of call the physical die cut, you can use that waste as well as the aperture. So I've taken some of that baby pink Centura Pearl that Becky's just shown you in that fabulous bundle, and I'm running it through my die cutting machine. Like I said earlier, I use my standard thin metal die sandwich with my Gemini. Follow the instruction booklet is what I would always recommend. What I tend to do is I'll do it the way that it's supposed to be done, and then I'll just have a play around and I'll find whatever works best for me when I'm doing my die cutting. But you can see these have cut absolutely perfectly first time. No metal shims, no taking out any plates, just a perfect cut.
And the fact that you can use them for lots of different materials is quite a key thing, isn't it? Because like you say, if you wanted to buy these and you were thinking about personalising, you know, children's stockings for Christmas, you were just going to buy stockings, but you could use these to cut out with some felt and just glue it on if you're not not a soft crafter. But if you are a soft crafter, the fact that you could use these for paper craft as well as soft craft is a win-win, isn't it?
Absolutely, and we talk about it's almost like being future-proof. So you might not do a lot of sewing at the moment, you might be mainly a paper crafter, but what if a few months down the line you think, do you know what, this sewing lark looks quite good, I like what that Becky's doing on Crafters TV, I'll have a go at that. And you might have never done any sort of soft crafts before, you might be a paper crafter, but by having these dies you'll think, right, well, I've already actually got some dies that I can be using for my soft crafts, so it is kind of future-proofing yourself. I always say with crafts, I'm one of these, I'm a typical crafter, I want to do everything, I want to try everything, I want to do this, that and the other craft. So you sort of never say never. You don't want to limit yourself with the stash that you're buying, but being able to buy something that you can use today for the crafts that you're currently into, but you can also use perhaps in the future when you do get into other crafts. I think is absolutely perfect, and it's going to give you even more value for money, which is absolutely what we're all about. So we've run that through our die cutting machine. We've spelt out party, which is quite cute. It'll be perfect for any party invites, but we're going to leave those to one side for just a moment. And like I said earlier, we're actually going to build a scrapbook page. So we're going to start to actually pop our page together. So our first piece is a piece of 12 by 12 inch card. That's just some nice pinky sort of pearlized sort of cardstock. We've cut that down to 12 by 12 just because for our scrapbook pages we do tend to work in 12 by 12 size. But of course it's up to you. If you've got different sized albums, it doesn't always have to be just 12 by 12 in size. Completely up to you what size you are working with. And then our next layer down, we've gone about 1/4 inch smaller, and this is actually from our I've stuck that down, there we go, from our Violet Studios baby collection.
Okay.
I picked this up the other week. I got both the 6 by 6 and the 12 by 12, and they're absolutely gorgeous designs. But like usual, I like to use things for sort of other occasions than what they've been designed for. So a lot of the time I like to try and see if I can use my Christmas papers for every day. And I thought for this one, I'm not doing a baby design, but I want to use this baby paper pad for something other than a new baby card. And it's just a gorgeous design that we've got onto there. Lovely soft blue colour.
Speckles?
Yeah, so it's like polka dots, but they're not perfect polka dots, which I think is what gives that really nice design onto there. Could almost, I'm thinking it's almost like confetti, so that was sort of the look I was going for. But of course, you could be actually coming in with some of your glossy highlights and maybe picking out some of those dots, or even some of your sparkle pens to further enhance your papers. Don't just think about using them as they are. Think about using your inks, your gilding waxes, even embossing onto here. It's going to give you lots of different effects when it comes to creating your scrapbook pages. Now we're going to bring in some mats and layers. So what I've got is I've got a piece of cardstock. Again, it's from that same paper pad, that Violet Studios baby paper pad, and I've also got a piece of vellum, and that's from that dancing dragonfly vellum pad that we were looking at earlier. And I'd just like to sort of lay things out to start with, decide where I want things to go, and I think I'm going to have that on there, something like that. The way I find it easiest to stick vellum, and we get this question time and time again, what's the best way to stick vellum? And the way I always say is stick your adhesive where it's going to be hidden. So I like to plan my layout first and then decide where I can put my adhesive that it's actually going to be covered. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the vellum behind, and we're going to add this layer over the top. So I know that in this section I can have my adhesive and it's going to be covered by this matte layer. So the way I find easiest is I'll actually flip this over. I'll use this almost like a measuring guide. Of course you could use some pencil on the back of there to actually mark it, but just for speed I find it quite easy to do this way. And then we're going to add some adhesive onto there because we know that that section is going to be covered by this next matte layer, and then we can stick it down. And sometimes as it comes to adding more embellishments to your projects, you'll find that you can perhaps add a little bit more adhesive because there's going to be an area that's now going to be covered by another embellishment. But that would be my top tip for sticking your vellum. Just find out sort of what your next layers are going to be, what's going to be hidden, and then if it's going to be covered, then add your adhesive onto that particular element. So what I'm doing is I'm just lining this up now, central with the centre of the page, and then I'm going to stick that down, and then we're going to bring in our next matte layer, and we're going to stick this over the top. So we're starting to build up our design, starting to build up those mats and layers onto our scrapbook page. And it's all about drawing the eye in, creating interest, and we're going to add our photo, and everything should be drawing attention to that focal element, that photo, and bringing the colours into that particular design. So we've got that stuck onto there like so. And then what we've got is we've got some more mats and layers. So another piece from that baby collection, and then we've got some more of that baby pink, and then another pattern paper. That was actually from one of our craft kits. That's craft kit 48. It's the flowers one. Say it with flowers.
I love the fact that you can remember.
I'm quite good for remembering stuff like that, I have to say. I did it the other day. I can't remember who I was on. I think it was with Debbie Fisher, and I just pulled out the name of, oh yeah, that was craft kit 47 or something. I don't know why I find it quite easy to remember the numbers of them. But yeah, that's definitely 48. So say it with flowers, that lovely wood grain. We're adding some of our pink to the sort of side of that, and then we're going to add that onto the centre of this piece. And by adding that pink, it's going to draw in the pink that we've got in those background layers, going to pull it all together, but it also gives us that contrast between those two pattern papers. Without that particular layer, they sort of get lost amongst one another. It's just going to give us that sort of standout feature. So we're going to stick
I've had a question.
Ooh, love it. Bring
So
them in.
Suzanne says, to both ladies, what is your favourite thing about crafting and what do you enjoy doing the most?
Am I going first or are you? Who wants to go first?
Well, I've been thinking about it, and I think because it came in a little bit slow, so I give you a bit of time to think. I think my favourite thing about crafting is the fact that it's kind of a peaceful time. It's sort of a time for yourself to be crafting, and I also quite like the fact that if it goes wrong, no one's going to know. Not unless I'm doing it on a show, and then obviously everyone finds out when things have gone wrong, like when I've sewn a bag inside out or something like that. But I think it's a time for yourself when you're crafting. And as far as my family knows, Mummy's just working. They don't know that I'm spending ages just painting a piece of wood. And just enjoying that. But as to my favourite craft, I can't tell you because I'm flighty, is what I would call myself. I decide one day that actually what I really want to learn to do is weave. So I buy all the stuff, I have a go, and then I go, yeah, I'm a bit bored with that, and I put it away and I'll leave it for a while. And I do the same with lots of different crafts. So there's loads of things that I like doing, and I'll go sort of really gung-ho with them for a couple of months, and then I'll just leave them. I like to think actually I could do a little bit of everything. I might not be able to do it well, but I like to think I could do a little bit of everything, and I like to know that if I decide tomorrow what I really want to do is some ceramic work, I've got all the bits and pieces there to do a bit of ceramic work. So that's my answer. Not a very full answer, but
It's
I like
answer.
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, definitely.
No. Yeah. What about you, Lily?
What do I love most about crafting? Gosh, you guys know at home, I am a craft addict. I love my craft. I'm definitely a craftaholic. There's not a day goes by, honestly, that I don't craft. I cannot remember the last time I didn't craft. I can actually. It was probably about 8 years ago and I had the flu and I couldn't physically get out of bed. And that was the only reason that I didn't craft. And I remember the reason why I knew I was getting better is I managed to heave myself downstairs and I was sat there at my craft table, still quite ill with the flu, just thinking I just want to be able to craft, because for me, craft is, it's so satisfying, starting with a piece of, like something like this, starting with a blank piece of paper and transforming it into something that you can give to someone that you love, someone that's close to you, and then seeing their sort of reaction when you give them something that you've made for them and they sort of treasure it. I know my mum keeps all the cards that I've made for her, even cards that I've made over 10 years ago, she keeps them all, and it's that sort of being able to share that love, something that you love doing with somebody else and bringing a smile to their faces, for me is kind of what it's all about. But I just love my crafting. And what do I love doing the most? Papercraft. I do mainly cards, but you guys know I love my colouring. I could sit and colour literally all day long. I colour until my hands are like practically bleeding sometimes, you know, like, oh, I don't want to keep colouring, my hands are cramping, I've been doing it for hours, but I just love colouring. It's that feeling that craft gives you. I think it's so satisfying. For me, it's really mindful, and it's just that time that I just love being creative.
There's something lovely about creating something and then giving it to somebody, and then they're looking it over and they're trying to find where it's come from. And they're like, where did you get this? And you're like, no, I made it. And they were like, what? They can't quite believe it.
Yeah.
And there's a huge amount of pride that comes with that, the fact that somebody looked at something that you've made and, you know, they think, gosh, you know, I would have paid good money for that in a shop. But message in, let us know what your favourite craft is. Maybe you're watching Papercraft for the first time, maybe you're a new viewer, or maybe, you know, Papercraft is your absolute love. So just mention in the show socials on Facebook or on YouTube. Let us know what your favourite craft is and how it makes you feel. Does it, you know, I think it's time for yourself, isn't it? You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
Although I think with the whole sort of COVID thing, lots of people started crafting together online, which I think was really nice to have this kind of like ongoing community that perhaps people didn't have before. And obviously, you know, having Crafters TV and be able to sort of interact with us and we can interact with you, that's really quite key to sort of see what other people are doing. And I know we were talking about earlier on, you know, when we were saying, you know, send us your makes, send us what you've done. You know, if you've got an interpretation of something that we've done on a show, we love to see it.
Oh,
we love to see that the idea that we've had, you've sort of run with it. So do always sort of post up pictures of anything that you've made on Facebook, or let us know by email. It's great. Suzanne says, lol, I'm exactly the same as Becky. Want to try everything, and you can tell, Lily, because your colouring is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
So another thing I love about craft is the community. I've met so many people, both virtually and in person through craft, and it's just such a lovely community, sharing all our mates, sharing our inspiration, sharing our love of craft. I just think it's absolutely lovely. So yeah, getting all a little bit soppy on this Saturday
we
night,
are, aren't we? It's also those love words that you kept putting, you know, happy home.
That's what
love.
it was.
It's your fault.
Yeah, I will take the blame, but no, I love my crafting, you know, it's what I absolutely love to do. People sort of sometimes say to me, what do you do when you're not crafting? I say,
sleep.
Well, I run, but when I'm running, I am usually thinking about crafting as well. So I am crafting pretty much 24/7, let's be honest. George in my ear is saying I need to be able to craft and run at the same time. Believe you me, I've tried to work it out and I can't quite come up with a plan, but don't worry, it's a work in progress.
You
I
need
will
someone
figure it
running
out.
with you, holding onto a Gemini, so you could be, you know, sort of cranking the handle of the Gemini. That's not Jamie doing that, no?
Jamie in our ear is volunteering for that role, I do believe. So we will set that up, and he can hold the Gemini. I'll run alongside. I'll say, Jamie, cut this, stamp this. But yeah, I've not quite worked that one out. But I'm either running or crafting. Let's be honest. But that is absolutely what I love to do. So what we've done now, back to the scrapbook page, we've added a few mats and layers onto here like so, and then we're going to add our photo onto that section there. So we've just matted and layered that again onto that same lovely baby pink cardstock. We can see how we're all sort of tying that design together, using some of those pattern papers, using some of that cardstock just to break up that design. So we've not got pattern on pattern, we've got something that's just going to break up that design. How am I going to add this onto here? Let's have it central. So I'm going to have an even gap at the left-hand side and the right-hand side there. And I'm going to have it even top and bottom. I'm going to get it as straight as I possibly can. This time on an eye, it's difficult to line stuff up. The eyes are going to sleep. Not really. I've got about another 5 more hours worth of crafting in me, that's for sure. Oh, it was terrible last night. I thought I'll just do another half an hour. I'll just start this project. An hour and a half later, I was like, I want to finish it. And I was like, no, Lily, you need sleep, but I want to finish. You know, it's like, I want to finish this project. You just want to see how it looks like. It can be a little bit addictive, but absolutely in the best possible way. And it's that sort of satisfaction when you reach the end of your project. It might look nothing like what you planned it to look like at the start, but as long as you're happy with that result, it's just such a lovely feeling when your project sort of comes to life and you see it take shape. So the final finishing touch to this is actually going to be bringing in our alphabet. So spell out party. We're sort of imagining we're scrapbooking maybe photos you've got from a party, maybe a children's birthday party, maybe you've had a barbecue over the summer and you've got some nice photos that you want to add to your scrapbook page. Maybe you're going to be placing this into a box frame and actually having it on your wall as a piece of home decor. I think that's something that a lot of people are doing a lot more recently, is actually creating a scrapbook pages, but rather than having them sort of hidden away in your albums, actually popping them into a nice deep box frame and having them up on your wall for everyone to see. I think that's a really nice idea to have that as a piece of home decor as well. And then the final finishing touch is going to be that Y. I'm going to have that overlapping the photo a little bit. So it's just going to give you sort of more of a dynamic design. It's going to have everything sort of flowing together. Everything's kind of meshing into one. There's no sort of like, there's no rules as such, it's completely up to you, but everything's going to tie together, having that overlapping there onto like so. You could be adding more embellishments if you like, completely up to you, but a nice simple scrapbook page just showing how you can use your Multicraft alphabets actually on projects other than cards, other than sewing, to actually create a scrapbook page.
Fabulous, love those colours. Lots of people messaging in. Panda Crafts says, I love to create things. Sometimes it's just in my head and I make something. And Mary Reno says it's lovely layouts. Mary Pat says, when it comes to paper crafting, my absolute favourite is scrapbooking. Scrapbooking is something I've not actually tried out. Gilmore says, when I'm running, I'm thinking of the animal that's charging at me. Lol, otherwise, the only time I will most likely run and lose to. Mary Reno says, I love paper crafts and crochet best. CCT says, love paper crafting, especially construction. I'm still amazed at what we can create with cardstock glue. Boxes, bags, books, all the 3D cards are so amazing. So yeah, it's lovely to hear what people are getting up to. Scrapbooking is maybe something I should get started in doing.
I'm having a little bit of a dabble as of late.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to start a proper scrapbook, but I'm not. I need to find the time. It's that I'm trying to find that extra hour in the day. If I can, I'll start scrapbooking, but just dabbling at the moment.
It's just finding the time, isn't it? It's always difficult.
Always.
Some of the other alphabets we have in the show are these ones. So these are a really pretty script. In fact, you can't really see there. So if I turn them the wrong way round, you can actually see what they're going to look like. So you've got a really pretty sort of italic script. So you've got your uppercase and lowercase. You've got your numbers, and then you've also got your, what do we call them, suffixes to get your ordinate numbers. So your first, second, third, ordinals.
Ordinals.
Did I say ordinate?
Ordinals.
So your second, third, first. So you've got all those little bits and pieces here. So quite small dies. Really nice to to finish off your designs, but you can see what they look like there. So the price of these is £16.99, $24.99. Platinum price is £13.59 or $19.99. So those are your alphabet and number die here with all those italics. The next thing we've got are some inks, some water reactive inks here. We've got ink pads. So this is your honey pot one you've got here. Then the next one is ocean blue, beautiful vivid blue you've got there. Grasshopper. Then we have straw bale, which is a sort of paler yellow, almost like a primrose colour. Baby blue. And then the final one is Midnight, so that really, really dark inky blue. The price for this is £25.95, $36.75. Your platinum price is £20.76 or $29.40. And we do need to do a vote for demo of the show. And we also have to do demo of the day. So we've got quite a few demos to sort of show you. So Lily's just getting those ready. So the first one we've got, I love that one.
It's cute, isn't it?
I like them all.
So that's number one, using our shadow alphabet and our Knitwit Homebody collection to create that easel card. So that is demo number one. Demo number two, really simple, clean, fresh, modern design with that shaker using our Multicraft alphabet. That is demo number two. Demo number three, we created our own backing paper using one of our sentiments from our mini die selection to create that Z fold card. That is demo number three. Demo number four is using our left fold alphabets to create this box using some of our Sarah Signature Dancing Dragonflies, vellum and paper pad onto there. That's demo number four. And the one we've just finished, this scrapbook page, something a little bit different, Lily dabbling her toe into the world of scrapbooking, is demo number five.
Lovely. So get your votes in. We'll do your demo of the day just afterwards. But we do have these fabulous bags. So these are Leanne's everyday paper crafting bags. So we've got a general everyday one, and we've got a Christmas one here as well. So I'll tell you what's inside them now, because I think we've left it long enough not telling you. So we've got some glitter. I was going to say gilding flakes. They're not gilding flakes. It's chunky glitter. Chunky. I've got to say it properly, haven't I? Then you've got Lovely Day stamp set. You've got Vintage Diary stamp set here as well. You've got, this is your Entwined Hearts die. Embossing folder. Becky, you crazy woman. You've got your Friend die here. That doesn't sound very nice. Your die, which has the word friend on it, that sounds much better. Then you have your Masquerade Ball stamp set. You have this cut and emboss folder here, which is really beautiful, nice sort of shape here. You've got these dies here to make this beautiful thank you kind of card with those little flowers that almost sort of spin out. The next thing you've got is a collection of the Knitwit's Vellum papers in here. Then you have your pop-out scene craft kit. Lily, which number is it?
Pop-out scene, I want to say 37 or 38.
38.
Oh,
she's good,
so
isn't
close.
she?
So close.
Really beautiful. So you're going to get everything you need in there. You're going to get your stamps. You're going to get all the colour-coordinated card paper embellishments in there to make all of those different cards. And then finally, you have the pièce de résistance. You have the Crafters TV hot drinks mug. Very nice. It is. We do need a little bit of fanfare for this, because this is what we all want. None of us here have them, apart from Craig. And we wonder how Craig's got one, because we all need one of those, because we all need a cup of tea. Has Tracy got a load of them? I don't know.
Apparently that's who Craig got his from, but she must have only given Craig one.
Oh.
I've never even seen one before.
Let's guess who her favourite is. It's clearly not us. So the price for this is £35 or $45. The platinum price is £28, $36. Do remember, everything you buy this weekend, you're going to be able to get double points on it. So it's definitely worth having a look and seeing if there's anything on the website that you need, anything you've run out of, you get your double points. But these bags are, being really, really popular. You're going to get so much in them. You're getting almost sort of £100 worth almost of goodies in here, just for £35 or $113 worth of items. So really, really good. The next one we've got is your Christmas one. So the Christmas one is this one here. And again, I'll tell you what you've actually got in this one this time. You have got so many bits and pieces. You've got this velvet ribbon embellishment pack here. Then you have a collection of the vintage snowman cardstock.
I can't believe that's in there.
I know.
I love that card. I've got 3 packs of that.
Stop showing off, Lily.
I do like that one. I do like that collection. I've got 2.
There's a really nice, that's such a lovely colour. All those colours in there, those teals, those golds, they really are kind of they've got a vintage feel to them, haven't they? They've got a kind of old worldy kind of feel to them. You've also got various dies. So you've got this one, which is your kind of message reveal die. It looks like a little cracker. You've got this, this is your stamp set here with your sort of nativity scene. You've got this die set with those beautiful baubles on there, so a stamp and die set here. This one is one of my favourites. This is the little gingerbread man sort of message reveal die and stamp set. Then you've got this die set with, almost like a Christmas scene with Santa Claus going over the town. This is the next one, is your Christmas morning scene, children opening their presents. Then we have an embossing folder here. We've got another one of these sort of gift card holders, and then we've got this final stamp set as well. So again, the price is £35, $45, £28 or $36 is your platinum price. We do have a demo of the show, and it is number 1. Oh. Number 1. Very, very nice. So we need to now do a demo of the day. So that is the home card that Lily made. So we're just going to get everything ready for demo of the day. Pam said, my favourite crafting thing to do is ink blending background with 2D and 3D embossing folders. Thank you very much. Christy says, I craft just about every day and I love card making because it makes me feel as though I can do something really good. I also love diamond dot art. I give my projects away. So this is the vote for demo of the day. So you've got number 1 and number 2.
What happened to Play Crossfire this morning?
Oh. Shh. Shh. Sorry, totally forgot about that. Right, number 1 is this one here. Number 2 is this one here. And number 3 is this one here. So get your votes in. We haven't got long before the end of the show. 1, 2 or 3. I'm just saying. So I'll just pop that out the way. We've also got the Weekend Super Saver, which has been, again, amazingly popular. Everybody has been wanting this. Even if you have just purchased your Gemini, this is worth getting because you're going to be getting all of the what are the word I'm looking for?
The plates.
All the plates.
And the storage.
I was going to call them pads. Plates
that
you could possibly need. So you've got your clear plates here. You've got your plastic shim here. So this is like the frosted glass one, well not glass, frosted plastic. You're going to get your embossing mat, which is your rubber embossing mat. You're going to be getting your metal shim, and you'll also be getting your magnetic shim as well. And everything fits beautifully into this little storage bag. So this is definitely worth having. You're going to be needing these plates eventually. You will sort of use up the ones that you have with your Gemini. The price for this is £48 or $76. Platinum price is £38.40 or $60.80. And again, do you remember you'll be getting your double points on everything you get for today. I'm just going to see, haven't got any response for the final demo of the show? Now tomorrow we've got Colour Me Happy. I'm not going to be here tomorrow, but you're going to be here. And who's presenting tomorrow?
Ben
Is back again. So we've got Masterclass with Sharon Callis, and then finally at 6 p.m. we've got Second Chance Sunday. So do make sure you stay tuned for tomorrow. Still haven't had an answer. We're leaving it quite late.
Ooh, we're in suspense.
Demo of the day goes to this one.
No way.
Well done. I thought it was going to be the box.
Me too, I was convinced.
But well done. I think they're all beautiful, as always.
Thank you.
So it's lovely to spend another day with you, Lily.
Absolutely.
We've got a bit of a break from each other now, haven't we?
have.
We've got a few weeks we probably won't see each other. That's the way it is at Crafters TV.
Just the way it is.
Exactly. So have a lovely Sunday, and make sure you join us tomorrow at 11 a.m. I'll be back on Bank Holiday Monday, but have a lovely day tomorrow with Ben and Lily. See you all soon.